Every year, thousands of people vanish without a trace. Most are never found, but sometimes they come back. Their families rejoice, investigators are stunned, and everyone is left with the same question: where were they all those years? Today, you'll hear the true stories of 3 people who disappeared and returned with explanations stranger than fiction. The case of Steven Stayner. Steven Stayner was just 7 years old when he vanished on his way home from school in Merced, California. It was December 1972. For 7 years, his family searched desperately. His mother never stopped believing he was alive. Police had no leads until March 1980, when a teenager walked into a police station in Ukiah, California. His name was Steven Stayner. The abduction. Steven told detectives an incredible story. He had been kidnapped by a man named Kenneth Parnell, who kept him hidden in plain sight. Parnell convinced Steven that his parents no longer wanted him. He enrolled Steven in school under a false name. Neighbors thought he was Parnell's son. For years, Steven lived a life that looked almost normal, but wasn't. He endured manipulation and abuse no child should ever face. The escape. In 1980, Parnell abducted another boy, 5-year-old Timothy White. Steven decided he couldn't let it happen again. One night, while Parnell was at work, Steven took Timothy and walked for miles until he found help. When police realized who he was, the headlines spread around the world. The boy who had vanished was alive and a hero. Coming home. Steven returned to his family after 7 years away. His younger brother, Carrie, was now a teenager. His parents struggled to understand everything he'd been through. Steven later said he never really felt like he fit in again. He died tragically in a motorcycle accident at age 24, but the story of his courage has inspired countless people since. The case of Jaycee Dugard. Jaycee Dugard was 11 when she was abducted in 1991 near her home in South Lake Tahoe, California. 2 people pulled her into a car as her stepfather watched helplessly. For 18 years, she was missing. Her family never stopped searching. The secret life. Jaycee was held captive in a backyard compound by Philip and Nancy Garrido. They built tents and sheds where she was hidden from the world. She gave birth to 2 children while in captivity. Over time, Jaycee learned to survive. Neighbors noticed strange things, children playing behind tall fences, but no one realized she was there. Discovery. In 2009, Garrido brought Jaycee and the girls to a parole meeting. An officer grew suspicious. After hours of questioning, Jaycee revealed her true identity. She had been alive all along. When her name was announced on the news, her mother fell to her knees in shock and joy. Reunion and healing. Jaycee and her daughters returned to her family. It took time to rebuild trust and heal from nearly 2 decades of isolation. Today, Jaycee is an advocate for victims. Her story shows the unimaginable strength of the human spirit. The case of Richard Hober. Not all disappearances are kidnappings. Sometimes people choose to vanish. Richard Hober was a 21-year-old student in Oregon when he disappeared in 1993. His car was found abandoned. His family assumed the worst. Years passed with no word. Then, 15 years later, Richard walked into a police station in Idaho. Voluntary disappearance. Richard explained he had left voluntarily. He felt overwhelmed by pressure, expectations, and debt. He hitchhiked across states, using fake names, working odd jobs. He never contacted his parents. He said he thought it would be easier for them to believe he had died. When he finally returned, his family was overjoyed and bewildered. Why people disappear. These stories have one thing in common. A person vanishes, leaving behind a mystery. Sometimes it's a crime. Sometimes it's a desperate escape. Sometimes it's both. The reasons are complicated and often impossible to fully understand. The impact on families. For the families left behind, the pain doesn't end when a loved one returns. Questions remain. Why did this happen? Could it have been prevented? How do you rebuild trust? Some families heal, some never recover, but all are forever changed. Conclusion. Every disappearance leaves a hole in someone's life. Every return brings relief and more questions. Because when a person vanishes, the story doesn't end, it just waits. If you found these stories compelling, subscribe for more true accounts of survival, mystery, and the resilience of the human spirit. Thank you for watching.